You're listening to the City World Radio Network. High-definition digital radio broadcasting from the city to the world. www.cityworldradio.com.
Hi, everybody out there in the radio world today. It's 6 p.m. in New York City, and you're listening to Keep It Real with Jazzy Joy and Company, where everyone has a voice, all languages and colors, coming to you in high def. Can you hear me now? On the City World Radio Network. Peace. That sponsor and help keeping it real stay on air. Here are a few we would like to thank.
Okay, happy Monday and happy Memorial Day. This is Memorial Day, so I don't know what you folks are doing out there, but hopefully you're tuning into the Jazzy Joy Keeping It Real show here at City World Radio, coming at you live from Manhattan. So if you want to get in, if you want to get in on the conversation, the number is 646-690-2976. We would love to hear from you. 646-690-2976. I'm here in the studio with Jade, our engineer, and we have Tom. What did it say, Tom? What did it say? Tom. Oh, wow. My mind is like, T-Mac. Yeah, see, T-Mac. Yeah, see, you're getting old, folks. You know what happens?
You probably still got the Marines on your mind.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, about the Marines. But, yeah, we have T-Mac, Tom McKinney, all the way from North Carolina. All right.
Good evening and happy Memorial Day to all those out there, and thank you for your service for those of you who did serve.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to talk about my experience with that. But before I do that, I just want to say a few words about Memorial Day. Basically, I hope everybody knows what Memorial Day is. It's a federal holiday, of course, in the United States for remembering and honoring people who have died while serving in the United States Armed Forces. And I understand, Tom, your dad was, your dad was in what part of the Armed Forces?
The Air Force. He started off in the Army, but then he switched to the Air Force. But he didn't die in the service. I think it's about people who died, who served, whether they died or not, right? We're memorializing the people that died and then thanking the people that served.
Right. I think it might have started off as remembering the people who have died, and then it just kind of morphed into a little bit more, and it even came into people just honoring and people who have died, period. But, I think the original idea was people who died serving this country. But now it's just remembering everyone. And this is Fleet Week, and I think this is the last day of Fleet Week. I believe the 27th. And it was just a very funny story because I remember I was talking to you, and I had seen some Navy guys on the train, and and I gave like a holler.
Don't leave out the part you were, about how attractive men are to women in uniform.
Yeah, I don't know why that is, but women have always been attracted to men in any kind of uniform. I don't understand what, because it's a. Oh, Jade is saying, okay, Jade.
Say it signifies that they have a job.
Oh, it's. You might have a point there. It signifies that they have a job.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, you see them in uniform, you know they got a job and a pretty decent benefits. One with good benefits. So maybe because police officer, anybody that's in a uniform, Wow, I never thought of it that way. Thanks for that, Jade. Because I was wondering why we're so impressed by men with uniforms. I couldn't figure out.
Does that apply to your attraction as well?
I mean, I never thought of it that way. But maybe that has something to do with it subconsciously. I think for me, it's just I like the way they look. Because military men, they have to be very. I mean, you even saw. I took a picture with the guys downstairs, right? From the Marines, and you saw even the way they were standing. You understand?
Yeah,
if they were just ordinary guys, the pictures wouldn't. I mean, the photo wouldn't have come out exactly that way. They were like standing in a very military type way. A very disciplined and program kind of way. Yes. and I admire them because I think my thinking and I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I mean, I couldn't be programmed like that. When I watch how precise they are, how disciplined they are, I'm like, no. I don't know. I don't think I could do it. I think Jade is. Did you serve? Yeah. Come on and see what.
I was in the Air Force.
Oh, she was in the Air Force, like your dad. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
The Air Force.
I think it also signifies they're good guys. They have. That they're moldable.
Yeah, because they have principle. Yeah, you think
ethics.
of everything very positive with them, which is not necessarily always the case because we've heard there are some, but I think for the most part that's what we see, because they're very principled. And as you said, Tom, they're very disciplined, and I think we like that. We like that in people, so we're impressed.
In this society, we have been, that's part of what we were talking about this evening after the acknowledgement to the Memorial Day, about the about programming and indoctrination and whatnot. But I think that in this, in our country or in other countries, I think military or not just military, but even police and firemen.
Right.
They follow a military kind of regimen.
Yeah,
right?
It's all because I've worked in the police department and I've seen how, they're very rank oriented. They're very, it's all the same. And I get crazy when I see firefighters too. So it's not only when I see firefighters, huh?
You get crazy?
Well, I get excited a little, just a little bit. I just get a little bit excited with firefighters too.
when you finish the show, look at my text and Messenger. That's what I was saying.
What, you gonna go out and get a uniform?
I'm not gonna get into that.
But it's just, I think Jade hit on it. It really signifies all those things, and maybe subconsciously we don't realize that that's what it is, but maybe that is what it is. It signifies a lot of positivity, and
positivity as we're indoctrinated to see what positivity is. Right?
Yeah, because we're definitely indoctrinated. I mean, that's why we got the idea.
That's why the word, positive. And I think it's about subscribing to a cultural dynamic or a societal dynamic that upholds the standards and the norms and the parameters that provide for the society's perseverance. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool because anytime you can you can like train someone because and I think one of the key words when you go into that excuse me, my allergies are picking up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing you have to endow is basic training.
Right.
Basic training. Cut off hair and shape your profile. Right?
Like they look so neat and clean, and because of the clean shaven. I mean, everything has to be impeccable the way they look, and I think that's very attractive.
I think that that's why when you see about revolution and people who are talking about involved in revolt, they change their profile. They grow beards and long hair at one point, and
Yeah, because that's like the total opposite of what.
Yeah, of that profile,
Mm-hmm.
and that profile is like, it's akin to cleanliness is akin to godliness, right?
Yes.
And all that, and that that part of the with the religious underpinning, the part of the indoctrination. But I mean, if it works for a society, that's what people do. They set up societies and they formulate basic rules and parameters to perpetuate that society.
And I just want to say that's kind of like going to segue into what we're talking about with indoctrination and programming and cultural strategy of dominance is what we're talking about this evening. And that's a good segue into that because it all ties into our perception because it's
all part of it. Well, we all like even those of us who tend to be a little more on the rebellious side. We're products of the indoctrination and the programming. I definitely am, even though. At some point in my life, I decided that I was going to, I began to challenge some of the parameters, some of the, the dictates that seemed to propel me in a way that wasn't necessarily beneficial to me. It was more beneficial to a society, exclusive of me. Right?
And you see, I feel the same way you do, and then look how excited I got because I saw a Marine, guys from the Marine.
That has something to do. That has a little something else to do with just, hormones and indoctrination.
And I didn't give them my speech. I was telling John at Suspenders. He's a great bartender down there at Suspenders Bar. You got to come on down. It's a lot of fun there, and you meet some great people. But
where is it?
Suspenders? Where? I don't know. I mean, I know where we're located, but it's right here on 108. What is it? 108. Yeah, we're on 108 108 Greenwich Street, and the bar is right attached to the building, and it's called Suspenders, and John is one of the great bartenders there, and Romeo is the manager, and I mean they're just great people, and it's a great place to be. So if you have a chance to come on down, you're gonna have a lot of fun there. So
if you come down on a Monday at 5:30, you might run into Jazzy Joy.
Oh yeah, because that's that's my first stop before I come upstairs. I go in there for a little salsa water and maybe sometimes an appetizer. You know what I mean? Or an occasional glass of Merlot. Whatever. But anyway, I forgot what I was going to say. What was I? I forgot
No,
what
you were saying that that oftentimes that's why you got excited about even though you have a rebellious nature, subconsciously the indoctrination still kicks in.
Oh, I know what I was saying. I didn't give my famous speech. I was telling John I didn't give my famous speech that I would have told the guys if I were 100 years younger, they would have been in trouble. Because, they were very young. I mean, they could be my sons. Because one man pointed out there at the bar who offered them all a drink. He said that they're very young. And I said, yeah, they are extremely young, that they could be my sons. Probably could even be my grandsons. And he said, I wouldn't go that far. He said, so the gentleman that was there, he said, well, I wouldn't go that far. I said, but I would. He didn't think that they could be my grandsons, but technically they could be.
I don't think, from looking at the picture you sent me, I don't think they could be their grandsons.
Don't you think they look very young?
I'm trying to
Well, anyway, but I always give that speech. I said, boy, if I were 100 years younger, you'd be in trouble. But I forgot to say that, so I didn't say that to them.
Trouble meaning what?
Well, you use your imagination.
That they all would be in trouble?
Every single one of them would be in trouble if I were 100 years younger. But this old lady, you're safe. You're safe.
I am going to Google the Army surplus store, or the I'm going to Google the theatrical outfitters.
Okay.
And get me a Marine or a
all
naval
right, you put
outfit.
on that uniform. You just better be ready.
Oh goodness! I'm gonna get me one. I'm sure I'll get me one.
You sure you want to do that?
I'm gonna get because you said you made a point on the hat, so I'm gonna get the hat too.
Yeah, they had to put on the hat. They all had their hats off or caps or whatever you call them. And when I took the picture, I said, "Please, I would like to have you." And they said, "Oh no problem." And they all put it on, and we took the picture, the photo. So it was great. I really they're so. And one John, the bartender, he was saying how mannerable and how nice. And I said, because you know where they're from, North Carolina, Mississippi, and places like that.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where they're from. They've been indoctrinated into that military discipline.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. It's true.
And I think as a military brat, right?
Mm-hmm.
I experienced that discipline firsthand. I saw it as I was growing up.
But what happened to you? No, I'm just kidding.
I veered off course, right?
You weren't going to fall into that, huh?
Yeah, at one time I wanted to be a pilot.
Like your father.
I wanted to be. My father wasn't a pilot, but
he was in the Air Force, though. But
he was in the Air Force, but I wanted to be a jet pilot, right?
And what
happened? When I was a young boy. But then then I started as I got older, and then he died at some point, and I got away from the military.
Yeah, actually, your father died when you were very young, unfortunately.
Yeah, he died when I was 12. Right?
Yeah.
11. Actually, 11. Just turned 12. I turned 12 on his funeral. But a couple of days after his funeral.
Okay.
But then, as I transitioned into private life or non-military life, and started seeing a whole different perspective and a different world that wasn't so regimented in the same way, I began to wonder about parameters and indoctrination and control, and why is one thing one way and another thing another way, and I began to really challenge once I got to my teens, and I had to follow certain rules that I didn't really want to follow, and then I could never get answers about why I do as I say, not as I do.
Right, right.
And that's what I used to get from my mother or my father when he was alive, and then my mother and my other relatives, uncles and stuff. Do as we say is no one could tell me give me a justifiable reason why some of the stuff they were telling me to do I should do, other than that's just the way it is. Right? And I think that's symbolic of a lot of the the indoctrination that we have been subjected to, and that we march in step to, and we don't realize the reason. And I'm saying I still to this day march in step to that, a lot of that indoctrination, but I do understand that I'm doing it as a means of navigating the larger society, not because I'm in it, or I subscribe to it. All right. I don't speed. Even though I have a high performance car, I don't speed because I don't want a ticket. All right.
Right.
I do not speed. I don't speed because I don't feel that speeding is wrong. Right.
You just don't want a ticket. That's what it is.
I don't want a ticket, and I understand that because I know I have to abide by the rules, even if I'm on a empty highway.
But how could you see that speeding is not wrong? I mean, it's wrong.
Because it's well, first of all, the contradiction. If it's wrong, why do they make a car that'll go 165, 70 miles an hour?
Because of people that are impressed. Because people that are impressed. Because of people who are impressed by that, but they know that they're not supposed to use it. But they know that people are going to buy the car because they're impressed by it, can do those many miles.
But I'm saying that.
It could do that speed.
But I'm just using that as an example to illustrate that. We sometimes we comply because of the rules. Or other times we comply because we're indoctrinated to believe that that's what is right, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, most of my compliance at this point to certain rules and parameters is because of the rules, because of the consequences.
Right. You don't believe that they're necessary.
Not necessarily hold to the the philosophy of it, right?
So
that's. And I think that's what people miss a lot of times. They just march to a beat. They don't think, they don't question, they don't confront and challenge. They just do, right?
Yeah, so that's getting into the cultural
system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they become robust to a system that oftentimes is designed for their subjugation to the benefit of the few wealthy or rich or elite. The benefit of those folks, right?
So now we're getting into this about cultural dominance and strategies of cultural dominance. So you're saying, in essence,
I see things on Facebook. I hear people talk. I go to religious ceremonies and we are so malleable, right? We are so pliable, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't always often use our thinking capacity, right?
Right.
We just do, right? We don't rationally look at things sometimes based on what is fundamentally rational in our perspective, right? But if I know that I posted something the other day. If subsistence is the only option I have, right? Or is the only option I have in a society that does not benefit me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would I want to follow the rules of that society? What is the motivation for me to follow the rules? Right? If the only option and result I have is subsistence, right?
Right.
But yet and still, I'm supposed to do that, right? I'm supposed to go to work for like that, especially down here in a what do they call it? A right to work state, right? Where I make like $8 or $9 an hour, and they split the shifts. They split the shifts up so it's not full time, so they don't have to give me benefits, right?
Right.
And so I'm making a minimum wage, a menial wage, right? That doesn't even support my existence. It results in subsistence, but yet and still I'm expected to do it wholeheartedly. I'm just supposed to, be thankful, right, that I have that opportunity, right? Even though it results in my being subsistent, right? Living in a subsistent manner. And, it's just so, to me, it's just so absurd. But it's ingrained. So what do you do? And that's why, and I think in communities that have high levels of abject poverty, you see levels of crime, because crime is defined as surviving outside of the strategies of dominance. If I go into a store, I'm hungry and I want to eat, and I don't have any money, I'm starving, and I steal a loaf of bread, I'm a criminal.
Right.
And you got people out here hustling and doing all kinds of different things. A lot of times because they have limited options in terms of doing things according to the parameters, right?
But why do you think? But I just want to backtrack a little bit. Why do you think people's inclination is to steal rather than to ask? Like what is it about steal? Because they're ashamed or embarrassed? Why don't they just ask?
We define it as stealing. Some people just call it appropriating.
So what you say, they don't look at it as steal? They know it's stealing. But why can't you just ask?
They know that according to their indoctrination, it's stealing. According to their biological needs, it's fulfilling a necessity.
Because I've heard a lot of store owners.
If it's about something like food, wait a minute, if it's about something like food or survival. But most times, crime is related to survival.
But I'm saying a lot of store owners, if you're going back to stealing food, you don't have food to eat. And most of them say if they would just ask, they would give it to them. They don't have to steal it. So why is the inclination to steal? Where does that come from?
Because generally in this society, it's asking or which is often defined as begging, right? Is demeaning.
So that's what I'm trying to get to. Yeah.
Right? It's demeaning. It's like
So they'd rather try to do it undercover,
especially among men, because we're indoctrinated a different way about men. What a real man is.
Right. So you're not gonna beg or you're not gonna ask for help because it diminishes you as a man.
Why should I have to? Right? I've had people come up to me, in the streets and talk about, my family. I'm here in the hotel. I don't have the money to pay for the hotel. A lot of it is scam, but some of it's not. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I try to do is say, okay, well, let's go in the grocery store. I'll get you some food. All right. If you say it's hunger that you're trying to deal with, right? Then maybe I can help you out by getting you a couple Big Macs or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to giving you the money, right? But
so it's really not all about hunger. If it were really about hunger, then they would choose the food. But so maybe people feel like they don't want to tell it because people might view it as a scam. They might not believe them. So the easiest way is just steal it. Yeah. I think just and not to get involved in all of that, just go ahead and steal it. Like I remember when I was in college, one day I didn't have the fare. And rather than try to beat it, I went. They had the police, like sort of like a transit police station right there in the subway station, and I just simply went there and said, I don't have it, and they said, okay, no problem, we'll let you through.
But then you acknowledge their authority, number one, right? Mm-hmm. And as a result of acknowledging their authority, they probably rewarded you. They had the power to decide whether or not you got in or not.
And also, as a woman, it's a little bit different too. I mean, I understand that. I realize that, a man goes in there and says it's viewed a little bit differently, but yeah.
And it depends on his demeanor and how he goes in there.
His demeanor and all of that. They could see that I was, they could see I was well spoken.
You have to subjugate yourself to get something, because
right.
You have to understand how power works, right?
Right.
How power or the need for power and ego, how all that works. And if you understand that in this society, a lot of times you can get what you need by manipulating that understanding.
But it's also according to geography, because if you're from a big city like New York City, people are just full of scams and all sorts of stuff, and they don't believe anything. They don't believe anything that anybody says. They just look at almost everything as a scam because they've seen it. Yeah, like these people.
The income and the resulting survival disparity is really mind-boggling in the city. All right, you have people sleeping on the street right beneath people who are living in luxury apartments. That's the people stepping over them. All right.
Right.
It's like and don't think nothing of it.
Mm-hmm.
Look down on them. Look at that nasty guy, or look at that nasty woman.
Because they look at people like you live like that.
They have disdain for them,
right? Because they feel like you're in that position because you want to be. Like it's not some. They look at it like it's something that you can help. You can not necessarily be in that position. You're in that position.
Which in a lot of times is hypocritical, because there are many people out here who followed the rules, right? They went to school, they did what they had to do, but because of some lack of contact or opportunity, they found that what they were told would be the key to their comeuppance, right?
Right.
Was not.
Well, I'm one of them. I mean, I was sold a bill of goods. I think that all you have to do was go to college, get a good education, and you come out and, your life is going to be totally different. I don't see my life being that much different.
Well,
I'm working in a so-called professional job, but, people are doing a whole lot better than I'm doing. Even some of my students are doing better than what I'm doing, So
and the label professional is not always relative to the income or the benefit structure or whatever, right?
Right. But that's the bill of goods that they sell you. Yeah.
Right, and that's part of that whole programming indoctrination as a strategy of dominance. It's about. In my view, it's ultimately about the survival of the fittest, right? Mm-hmm. And the fittest by being those who are who have the contacts, who have the inroads, who have the economic capability, who have that translates into power, right?
Because you begin to know that it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah, it's what you know and who you know. But who you know sometimes
is more important than what you know.
It's more prevalent
Because
prevalent
look,
than
for example,
what you know.
look at Donald Trump. For example, with Ben Carson, he doesn't know
Right.
anything. I mean, he's supposed to have been a brain surgeon. He doesn't know anything about public housing and running, but because he knew the right people, which he knew Donald Trump, he was put in that position.
And there's probably strategy behind that. But then the one that's in charge, what's it? Bessie DeVos. DeVos is in charge of
for the Department of Education. Right.
I mean, it's just so blatantly displayed in what's going on now, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming all about the power elite, right? And you can see the breakdown in a lot of the indoctrination, right? Other than, someone said to me, black people coming up, and revolution doesn't have to be about. It's not about. It's about moving into the society, and it's about assimilation, and we may have made inroads into that, and the revolution would not have to be it's not going to always. It takes other forms. I'm saying, yeah, it takes other forms until it threatens the status quo, right?
Right.
And I think Trump made that blatantly clear when he said, "Well, I have the military, I have the law enforcement, and I have the bikers backing me up."
I have the
what is that relative to? That's relative to violence. That's relative to what would you need the military, law enforcement, and bikers for?
Exactly.
And he's telling you this,
But that's why you can't go up against them, because you're not going to be able. You're not going to be able to compete with the force.
Well, what you have to do is try to get into. You have to try to change the mindset of the military, right? And get the military to come to your side and have a coup, as they call it, right?
Right. And which that's not very easy
the way
to
it
do.
is now. And like that. I think I sent you that post where that guy said, we don't grow our own food, we don't do this, we don't do that, right?
Right. We depend on somebody else for everything.
Range.
Exactly.
We don't go to the range and practice shooting. We don't have our kids, in martial arts, right, for the most part. And this is something you see down here prevalent with the dominant culture. They are doing all those things.
You mean in the South?
Yeah, here.
Here in North Carolina.
I say it's more. You can see it's more prevalent here. You can see it. I don't know what they're doing in New York. They may, but the laws are different. The gun laws are different. Out here, you can walk around with a gun on your waist.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, we don't have open carry.
Open carry state.
Yeah, we don't.
Anytime I go out to a different area, I went and got me a legal firearm. And when I go out to a different area, I put it in the cup holder of my car because it's open carry, right? Mm-hmm. And I go into some, because if I don't want to get caught out there, everybody else got one, I don't.
But that's what I'm saying. Imagine you can't have an open carry in a state like New York, so.
Well, they do. They don't have open carry in a state like New York. They have everybody else. Everybody got a gun in New York.
Yeah, exactly.
There's more guns in New York than there are in open carry states.
Right, absolutely.
But, it's just I don't know where the society is headed. I know that education, especially for the downtrodden, should be about developing survival skills, right? And understanding that what the education that you receive is about facilitating your ability to survive, right? Mm-hmm. It's not about a moral point of view or a philosophical point of view all the time, right? It's about how you manage to navigate a society where it is essential for you to have some kinds of skills, like skills to understand what's going on in order to facilitate your survival. Because hello?
Uh-huh.
Oh, because
hello.
everything that appears to be is not always what is or what is good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like they tell you get married, have 2.2 kids, a house with a white picket fence.
2.5, not 2.2.
It's what?
2.5. It's 2.5. Where do you get 2.2?
Okay, 2.5. Well, 2 point something. Well, in other words, there is a figure. There is a figure that
2.2 is what I'm telling you.
That you're supposed to, or whatever it is.
I did 2.5.
That you're supposed to.
Who's on 2 and who's on first? No, it's 2.5 kids. Okay.
Okay, but my point is, regardless as to what is 2.2 or 2.5,
it's 2.5.
There's a number. There's a number that is designated as what you should.
What's
subscribe
normal?
To.
Right.
Yeah.
What they consider normal.
That is supposed to give you a quality of life that's wonderful, right?
Mm-hmm. Again, it's selling you a bill of goods, and you have to find out on your own. That doesn't always work.
You've already invested time, energy, finances, right?
But that's part of the so-called American dream. 2.5 children, a dog and a cat, and a white picket fence, a house with a white picket fence.
A marriage ordained by some minister in a religious institution.
Right, right.
That tells you it's okay now. My loving you is okay. All right.
But Jane Elliott.
My loving you is sanctioned now because Father Smith sprinkled some water on you and did something.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
I just want to mention, Jane Elliott, right? The one who did the study, or she said experience with the brown-eyed and the blue-eyed.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Jane Elliott said that, in school you don't get an education, you get an indoctrination. That's what you get. Yeah. It's not an education, it's indoctrination. It's everything they teach you. And
your adherence to that indoctrination is rewarded or penalized, right?
Right.
If you can answer the question, you remember it, or you kind of, you subscribe to a certain theory, and you can replicate it or repeat it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you get a grade that makes you valid, right? And there's different level of validity. A C is a lower level of validity than a B. And
right.
A is a higher level of validity than a B.
Right, and you think because you got the A that you're so smart and you're so intelligent.
Yeah, you
but
valid,
it's just that you're able,
right?
You're just able to rehash. And I learned that when I was in college. We've talked about this before. And once I realized that, I said I'm not going to dispute anything. I'm just going to go. This is what they say. And I want to agree with what they say and just rehash what they told me. And that's why I got all A's in every single one of my psychology courses that I took. And I was an A and an honor student because I didn't dispute anything. I just rehashed what they told me. Because the most important thing was getting an A.
But one thing that came to light recently is how the rich people were able to buy their kids into college, right? And buy the grades or have the contacts to get them in. So even if you and I got A's, right?
Right. We'd be
the
knocked out.
That those A's offered us was subverted by the fact that someone else had money, power, and influence, right? To push their knucklehead kids ahead of us.
And we have to do the ordinary people have to do 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 times more,
Right.
and
then,
still
even then,
you couldn't get it.
They were able
exactly.
they were able to push their kids, or the ones that
Money
they desired
talks.
to
Money
into
talks.
into the corporations that they own, that their friends own, right?
But that's another thing, because since a lot of times we don't own anything. I'm talking
Right.
about African Americans, black. Right, we
primarily
don't.
African
Right,
Americans, people of
primarily.
color.
Yeah, we don't. I don't want to. I don't. Sorry, I don't use the term people of color. Excuse me.
Well, that's your choice. I do.
Because you know why? I'll tell you why.
Whatever. Make your point.
But I'm going to tell the people why I don't use people
but then
of color.
We're losing the point. You
But
have a
no,
good point.
we're not going to lose the point. I'm going to say the point, but the reason why I'm saying I don't use people of color, so people will understand why I don't use it, because that includes everybody that is non-white, and not everybody that is non-white has the plight and the history of black Americans in this country.
No,
so when I say I'm talking
people
about black, I'm not talking about people of color.
Well, I'm talking about. See, for me, I look at it from an economic
Well, you have the
perspective.
right to do so, but I don't look at it that way.
Saying. No, I'm thank you, but I'm just saying that
I don't look at it that way.
I'm just saying
I think that's the problem with us, that we're all inclusive, and then we get kicked out, and we don't get what is due to us because we include everybody else. We include the LGBTQ and everybody in this mix as people of color, and it just doesn't work.
Sometimes it's important to have alliances with people of like situations.
But you don't have
right?
alliances.
Because,
that's the problem.
Until you can stand firmly independently, right? Until you can stand firmly independently, structurally independently, right? Sometimes you need to form alliances.
But we don't have alliances is what I'm talking about. If we had alliances, then I would be all for people of color. But the people that are included in there, they're all for themselves, and they're not for us. Our
alliances are often, because racism and colorism is a strategy of dominance in and of itself. It's about economics. It's more about economics and as related to survival.
Well, I don't see it that way. I see that these people are for their own cause, and they're not for our cause, but we include everybody into our cause. No.
But all the causes ultimately relate to survival.
Well, yes, it does, but tell it to the people.
Relate to survival.
Yes,
and your ability as a culture to survive, right?
And I agree with that, but tell it to the people that they're for their own causes. They're really not for our cause.
Well, but their cause doesn't have to be just our cause. If their cause is about dealing with something that inhibits economic survival, even if it's for them, it's still about...
It's not all about economic and survival. The LGBTQ community, they're concerned about issues that relate to them. They're not concerned, but they're thrown in.
But relates to them in regard to opportunity, relates to them in regard to inclusion, relates to them in regard to having a say and a place that propels their ability to survive.
And that would be all well and good if they included us, but they don't include us.
That's my point about what the ultimate situation is. It's just not about black people because they're black. It's about black people because they have been deprived of the ability to survive.
But a lot of people that we throw in the mix, they haven't gone through and they haven't been put through the black experience in this country, so they're not on the same level. This is what I have a problem. But that's a whole nother show.
It may not be to the same degree, or it may not be as intense, But I'm talking, I'm trying to get to the fundamental issue, right?
And that's what we've been trying to do, and that's why we've been left out of everything. But they see, again, that's another show.
No, but
you and I don't agree on that.
No, that is about this show. It is about indoctrination, because indoctrination and programming is to prevent your access to those kinds of things in a lot of cases. It's about making you move through society happy and content with nothing.
The Jews, when the Jews have concerns about the Jews, it's about the Jews. When the Muslims have concern about the Muslims, it's about the Muslims. When Latinos have problems with Latinos, it's about Latino. Or when it's us, it's about everybody.
But I'm saying, okay. But I'm saying the common denominator about all their concerns is survival.
And I agree. I agree. That's the common denominator.
And that's all I'm saying. And sometimes an enemy of my enemy is my friend.
I'm not saying they're necessarily enemies. I'm just saying I don't want to talk about people of color. I want to talk about blacks.
I'm not saying that's what you're saying. That's what I'm saying. An enemy of my enemy is my friend, and that's about sometimes collusion, or sometimes being allying yourself with somebody whose agenda may be different than yours, but the fundamental result would enhance your ability, right, as well. And I'm saying that, and then once you achieve that, then you could cancel that alliance, right? And that's what we have to learn, I think, to do. How to navigate alliances, how to manipulate collaboration, so that we can benefit off other people's situation as they do ours.
Well, you need to tell it to the other people, because we already do that. We already do that as black. You need to tell it to the other ones that's what they need to do, not what we need to do.
We don't effectively do that. We don't, because if we
we do, because we include everybody in.
I'm not just talking about including. I'm saying manipulating that inclusion. I'm saying using that inclusion to our benefit. It's one thing to include and then just march along. It's one thing to be strategic about that inclusion, right? And that's what my point is. You have to be strategic about inclusion, about alliances, not just have them. That's a part of your survival strategy, is how to navigate inclusion, how to navigate alliances.
Okay. I can agree.
Especially when you don't own and control nothing.
Yeah, we don't. So
what are you gonna do?
Well, a lot of the other alliances, they do own and control stuff. Well,
right.
We don't.
And that's a lot of the other cultures are
they own. But we don't.
And so sometimes it is to our benefit to make alliance with those who do have that ownership and figure out how to navigate.
They don't want to make alliances with us, because, as I'm saying, they're concerned about issues that concern them. That's what they're concerned about.
That's why we have to learn how to be strategic.
Well, I would love to learn. I think we should learn. That's how we have to continue this conversation, because absolutely, because we can't just cover this in 1 hour. But I would like to thank our listeners for tuning in on this Memorial Day to the Jazzy Joy Keeping It Real show here at City World Radio, coming at you live. So, once again, thank you very much for tuning in.
It's time to go already?
Oh, yes, it is.
But nobody's following the show. Okay.
Yeah,
so
but the show...
Minutes.
The show is... we have 5 minutes. I don't know. It's up to Jade. So when do we stop?
7 o'clock.
It's 55.
Now when no one's following.
55 is when we end. 6:55, whether anybody's following or not.
When somebody's following us.
No, that's not how it goes. The show is up
okay.
until 6:55, and it's
See,
6:55. Okay,
There we go.
so thank you.
I'm trying to be strategic, and you're facilitating compliance.
Exactly, because this is I don't own
what?
this station.
Yeah.
All right.
So why would you care then?
Because Jade is going to cut us off. That's right. She has the power to cut us off. So
Jay got the power. Okay, Jay, I'm sorry.
Peace, everyone. Thanks.
Peace.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how, and we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids need to know the dangers and how to avoid them. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and